And so, talk to me about your relationship with your mom when you were going through, 16 years old, she relapses. And how does that impact you? And how do you like navigate through that? It seems like you've been through some pretty difficult times in a pretty short life.
Yeah, man, like for context, my mom, like we were very close because I grew up without a father. She struggled to get affection from her boyfriends and stuff. So she got that affection from me, kind of, and like it's like not probably the healthiest thing to like rely on your kids for affection. So I was very much a mama's boy. I had a lot of feminine traits growing up. I was very shy and all that, but I was very close to my mom. I love her a bit. And yeah, at the age of 16, or sorry, at the age of 13, her and her boyfriend split up and they had two kids together, my two little sisters. And that was really rough on her because she didn't really have many people and she was working all the time, running her food stands outside nightclubs at night. She raked it in. She knew the power of finding a good market, a hungry crowd. But yeah, that was hard on her. And I was living with her, and she eventually like started drinking a lot, and she would come home late at night, just drunk as hell, and I'd have to take care of her. I would.
At what age?
This was at age 13. This was age 13, and she didn't cook meals. Like I was always like, I remember I'd eat bread and butter. Like I would fend for myself and all that, or she would like give me money to buy pizza or something. It was just very unhealthy. But yeah, like so it was alcohol, and then she already smoked a lot of weed like every day. She was big into the weed, whatever. But yeah, it was starting to become more frequent. Like she was definitely hurting from that breakup and just being away from her kids. And I was just trying to be that support for her, but it was becoming so much where she was just drinking all the time, coming home drunk, and I was just like, I have enough. Like I'm just like I can't do this. I'm 13 years old. I'm busing to school. I'm trying to like hold it together here.
Did you feel shame, like within your peers, within your friends, within to teachers at school, or was it just like this is the situation?
I don't think I felt shame. No, I didn't feel shame. It was more frustrations. Like, God damn, like, I wish she could get her shit together. Like, cause I loved her and it was rough seeing that. And it got to a point where I was like, I can't do this. So I I remember I had enough one day. I bussed to my grandparents. My brother lived there. And I was like, hey, this is the situation. Like, can I move in here? And they're like, yes, absolutely. So I'm forever grateful for my grandparents. They took me in, and yeah, I started living there. And fortunately, my mom really kept on the same path because she was surrounded by a bunch of losers, and they would always take from her. She was a very giving person, and she always wanted to help, but she would like give homeless people jobs and stuff like that. But she surrounded herself around like some very negative people, and they eventually got her into the coke. And she did that, and she would call me. She would call me at night sometimes when I was like 16, and she was like, "Hey, like I'm screwed up. Like, can you give me a ride?" So there's many instances where I was like driving at night to these random places and like picking her up. She was all messed up. Coke went to crack, so she was smoking crack and just getting way too messed up. And yeah, from like ages like 16 to I think 18 or 19, that was rough. Like for context, like it's like not even the same person. Like after a while, it is actually mind blowing how much drugs can destroy someone's life, and just seeing like it wasn't even my mom at that point, man. Like it was like that sweet, beautiful woman that just had all these values and was just so caring and nurturing. To see what she turned into by the like those 2-3 years, it was mind blowing. Just like how far someone can go down the path when they're lost, because she didn't have a purpose, man. She was just she was just lost. She was working, but she didn't see her daughters that much. She didn't have a boyfriend or a husband. She had like very few people that cared for her in her life, and just seeing like just the route she went down was brutal. And I tried a lot. Like I drove her down to rehab in a separate city. I would try to talk to her, but like she's just so out of her senses from the addiction. It was scary, man. It was sad.
How are your parents doing today? And how old are you? Just so people have context.
Yeah, so I'm 24, 25 next month. And yeah, so for context, my father, he's been like relapsing on and off his whole life, my whole life. I see him more as a friend than a father. Yeah, so he keeps relapsing. He keeps like getting off it, getting on it. Oh, I'll never touch drugs again. He gets back on drugs. Recently, 3 months ago, he came to me. He's like, hey, like I'm in a shit ton of debt. Like, can you buy this car off me? Bought a car off him. But I lost my shit. Like, I don't know why. I just, like, I had enough. And for the first time in my life, I just like lost my shit on him and just yelled at him. And what was interesting, what kind of like moved me towards therapy a bit more, was when I was yelling at him, I said something that I just didn't know I was harboring. I was like, do you know how fucking hard it was to grow up without a father? And like the struggle of that and all that. Like I was like, holy shit, where did that come from? Put him into tears pretty much. And I don't know. I was like, well, like maybe losing my shit on him will like help him get his shit together, but I don't know. I haven't talked to him since. So that's where I'm at with my father. But he's a great guy. Like just smokes a little crack. And then my mom, when I was 19, she actually overdosed on fentanyl. And she was homeless for a while, and she was surrounding herself around some really, really bad people. And I guess she overdosed, and the people she was with just left her there, which is just crazy to me. Was really fucked up. Like my biggest regret is I went to a music festival, and I went with a bunch of friends. And after the music festival, we were walking downtown, and I remember I was walking on the sidewalk, and as I was walking, 2 feet to my left, I look, I was like, holy shit, that's my mom. And she's like on the street, and she was literally just staring out to the night sky, just like, she looked lost, like she looked like she was just like in a gaze. And I was walking with my friend group, and I was like, holy shit, like in my head, like that's my fucking mom, man. And I didn't know what to do. And I was like, I don't want to make a scene here. And so we just walked. No one knew. We just kept walking. I walked right past my mom. And yeah, like a week later, found out she was dead. Overdose. Yeah, dude, that's like one of my biggest regrets in life, was just not saying hi or not hugging her or not anything. Like that was the last time I saw my mom, and that was the like biggest regret in life. Was like I held a lot of resentment towards myself for that. So that was some heavy shit for me. It was so dramatic too. Like so that's some shit out of some movies. It's just funny how life works like that. But yeah.